Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to replace a bent pole saw. Alright, I'm going to try to capture this all on camera, but this is got a bent pole here, so we're just going to be repairing that today. What's going on, everybody? Anthony here with Apex, back again with another video. A little voiceover action for you guys. We're going to start things off by removing the head off of this pole here to be able to slide everything out of it. It's just something I do. Sometimes it's easier to work with just the pole, but this one, I'm just doing it with the engine and everything intact. So first things first, you need to get off this clamp here because that's what's basically holding the whole assembly into the actual pole. So, as always, interrupted. Sometimes these things, because the pole is so bent that this piece is seized on there. So one of my techs is actually helping me, but I don't really like too much help, honestly. So just kind of muscle this thing out and try to get this shaft out of there. When it's bent inside that tube, it's just everything is just binding in there, so it's kind of hard. So basically you need to grip the pole and be able to slide it out, and normally I'll chuck it in the vise and yank it out, but I'm trying to do this all within frame of the camera, so that's what I'm doing here. So once you get that piece out, you'll see the whole assembly will come out, the drive tube and the drive shaft. So it's a two-piece setup. So we're replacing the top end here. So as you can see, I'm still trying to get that piece off and it's still stuck there. This pole was bent pretty bad. So basically they have it extended and then they bend it while it's extended and then they shove it back into the housing. But you can even see the driver on the end came out of the drive shaft, but once you pull on that drive shaft, there's a sleeve on the end that pulls out the loom with it. So just pull out all the guts basically. So the loom, the drive shaft, that sleeve, everything comes out. It's all held on by a snap ring at the end. But yeah, so I try to clean it up because this stuff is like antifreeze. Whenever you touch it, it gets all over your tools, all over everything. So I try to clean up as much as possible so it doesn't get grease and everything all over the place. So it's kind of hard to pull out just because of that sleeve or that pole being bent and the sleeve's just dragging. So basically, as you're doing this, just kind of keep things clean. Plus, like a lot, they'll run it with the drive shaft bent, so a little bit of metal shavings will get into it. And sometimes I'll run a rag through the actual loom or something to clean out the loom, but in this case, it wasn't too bad. So I'm cleaning off the drive shaft as I'm sliding the shaft out of the loom as a liner, if you will. And that's pretty much it. So once you separate those pieces, again, I just look at the rag. I mean, this rag was like brand new when I started, and now it's just covered in grease. It's just this, like I said, this stuff is pretty nasty. So the snap ring on these are actually pretty weak. I hate when they're like really weak because they make the snap ring like kind of fold rather than just be rigid and just open up. So they're a little bit tricky to take off, but a little bit of practice, you'll get it down. So this little sleeve, I forgot to slide it off at the beginning, but normally I'll just pop the snap ring off and slide it off the end, but either way, snap ring comes off, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And there goes the drive shaft out of my face. So then we're gonna put the snap ring on first. Had a little bit too much caffeine this morning. Hands are a little shaky. No worries. Everything isn't always perfect. So we're just going to get the snap ring put on. Everything's slimy just from that grease and everything. So get the snap ring slid onto that bad boy. Make sure it's in that slot. You kind of spin it around, you'll know. Throw your little collar on, very important. That collar has a little notch in it. and it only goes one way inside of the actual drive tube, so keep that in mind. So this is the liner here. Again, you can run something through the middle to clean out all the old grease or any metal that's in it, but in this case I did not because it wasn't too bad.
This is my favorite part.
And now we're going to work on putting it back together. So get the new drive shaft right here. We're going to get it all lubricated. Use, gearbox grease, whatever you want. General purpose grease. You just want to keep this thing kind of lubricated. It doesn't require too much, but it keeps the sound down and just keeps everything in nice working order. It's my favorite part, like I said. I think I already said that actually, but lube up that shaft, and then I will shove it through the liner here. Bada bing, bada boom. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Make sure that sleeve's on there. Don't forget that sleeve. I get a lot of saws in the shop where people forget that sleeve, and the customer brings it to us because they took it somewhere else and they forgot parts or it's missing parts. So I just use my bench here and slide the tube up to release that clamping piece, and as you can see, it's bent pretty bad right here. So again, that sleeve won't slide through. And then when I hit it with the vice grips, it put some burrs on the tube, so that didn't help either. But a little bit of force should come right off. So here you go. You can see how badly bent this drive tube is. It also bent the drive shaft. Normally it'll just bend the tube and not the shaft, but in this case it bent both. So we're replacing both. I don't know how much it was, but I want to say it's like less than $100 for all these parts. So again, that sleeve has a notch in it, so make sure you align it with the line inside of that tube, or else it will not slide in. So just keep that in mind. Right here, we're just going to twist it around, get that snap ring to slide past that. There's like a little pin on the pole. You can see it on the end over there. And then we're going to slide this little collar on. And then again, this is directional, so you have to align the notches in that black piece on the end of this drive tube in the slot of the actual main tube. So I wiggle it around to get both drive shafts. They're splined, so you have to get them aligned. So I wiggle it and I'm twisting it on the end on my left hand, my opposite hand that you can't see, because I'm trying to do this all on camera, but it's actually kind of tricky. So it's such a large piece of equipment, or long piece of equipment. So align that collar into that drive tube and the whole thing will just slide on. And then we're going to slide on this clamp here and slide it all the way on, the knob facing up vertically, like how it is. This is how you can really put this any orientation you want. I point it up just because it's easier to access, and it's it's not going to grab on things when you put it on the ground or anything. So slide your head on, align that spline, make sure this thing is all the way seated. And once you do that, she's pretty much ready to rip. Tighten up the bolts to clamp down on the head piece here, and she's ready to rip. So as always, we test all functions in this shop. So pole extends out nice and easy, slides in nice and easy, and there you go. So I test it with it fully extended. Bye bye drive tube. I test it with it fully extended, and then I test it with it collapsed. Right now it's collapsed. This thing, I'm staring at you awkwardly. I don't know why. I just wanted to make eye contact with you, but all right. No, it sounds noisier on camera because it's on my bench, but it's actually not that noisy. Slide the whole assembly out. Make sure it maxes out and it doesn't get like locked in or lodged or anything like that. Make sure it's not binding. And a little test runner. Like so. That's pretty much it. That's all she wrote. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. As always, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time.